everyone, welcome to Inbox Cherish. It is Gina and I am here to share with you another beautiful card from Stampin' Up. And so I just want to thank you first of all for joining my channel and having a look. If you are looking for a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator, I am your person. I am so excited about the really neat things that you can make with Stampin' Up! Cards. This is our annual catalog and it is just fabulous. We're coming out with a new catalog in June, but this is the one that we're currently using. And oh my gosh, I'm telling you guys, you go through any page and there's just all these colorful ideas and ways that you can make cards with one simple stamp set. So for example, this is the one that we're going to use tonight. It is called Abstract Impressions. And it is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Just so versatile. It has lots of flower petals, layering methods, and lots of cute little sentiments that say a lot of cute little things in like a handwritten type of font. So examples are, there's so much to love about you, kindness changes everything, thank you, if flowers were hugs, I'd send you 1,000, so happy about your news. And so I am on a 30-day challenge that I am actually using a lot of the stamps that I initially received when I signed up to be an independent demonstrator. And so I just want to share with you how cute these cards can be from one single stamp set. So you can create a whole lot with just one stamp set. So it makes a really perfect gift for someone that you love because they're able to create literally hundreds of cards for almost nothing, and just so versatile. Or if you're looking for a hobby and to fill and feed your own passions, this would be a great startup kit for you to get. So thank you for those of you that will visit my online store. If you do visit my online store, please know that, and I will post the link below, but please know that if you use this host code, then I will send you some extra goodies just to tell you thank you for joining me and allowing me to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And so the host code that we're going to be using will be, for the month of April, will be KFXWUDDN. So when you go to place your order, just use this host code and then you'll get some extra goodies. And thanks again for joining me. So what we're going to be using today is the Abstract Impressions. A very easy, simple card. This week is an appreciation week for campus administrators. And those of you that don't know, I am a campus administrator on an elementary campus. And literally the people that I work with and the students I work with have been spoiling me rotten this week. And so I need to create a whole lot of thank you cards. And so what I'm going to use tonight is a series of several flowers. And these are all the photopolymer stamp set that comes with the Abstract Impressions. I've placed some of them on the acrylic blocks. And so these are so nice because they clean up so easily. And they can easily be layered, so the card looks like it has some dimension and even some shading. So for example, here is a bottom layer to one of the flowers that we're going to create. Just beautiful little stamps that are going to create a very beautiful card. Also on my table, I found some green ribbon here in my craft room. I love to put embellishments on my cards, and so I always keep just little tidbits of different things because you never know when they will come in handy and just be a beautiful addition to any card. Also tonight I'm going to be using a series of stamp pads, and I have Gorgeous Grape, and that is a gorgeous grape color. I'm also going to be using, this is one of my favorite colors, Coastal Cabana. Not sure if you can see this. Let me try to get that blue. And then a little bit of a darker blue, Pacific Point. Also going to be using another one of my favorites is Granny Apple Green. This one is a Daffodil Delight. It's a nice yellow. And then I love Mango Melody because it's almost a combination of an orange and a yellow put together. It's beautiful. And then I'm also going to be using some Flirty Flamingo because remember, we're making a hodgepodge of flowers. And Melon Mambo. This is one of my favorites too. And so because it is springtime, why not include lots of different flowers, lots of different colors. Some of the tools that I have here is my, Stampin' Up! Bone file folder that I just make some really nice crisp edges on my cards. And so I love to have a crisp edge. I'm not too particular about my stamping and making sure everything is perfect, but I do like to make a really crisp edge on my cards, and look at that. It is just absolutely perfect, and it's ready for us to make something beautiful. Also have some glue dots in case we want to use some little tiny glue dots for some adhesion of our embellishments, and they are super sticky and super wonderful. I have my Stampin' Up! Scissors, super sharp, and look at that point. It's for fine details also, so love my Stampin' Up! Scissors. I have the liquid glue. That's just an economical way to attach just about anything to your card. I also have the snail adhesive, and this is awesome because it's a fusion tape that works like a tape runner, and it's super sticky and just easily binds different things, paper, fabric, little embellishments to your cards very easily. I also have something that's a little bit older. It's called the Stampin' Scrub. I use this to clean my stamps. We also have a chamois that is wonderful, but all we do with this is you simply give it a couple of squirts of the Stampin' Mist, and it is ready to go to clean your stamps. And so I'm going to be using that today, and I don't think I'll be using much else. So a very simple card tonight, something that you can create in bulk and create very quickly. And so what I'm going to do is first get a blank sheet of paper. I always stamp, let me get a piece of paper. I always try to stamp on a blank sheet, so that way if I needed to stamp off on the paper to get rid of some ink, or if I wanted to make sure that I don't stamp all over my desktop, it just kind of protects my workspace. And sometimes I just get a little creative and just try to come up with different ideas on my scratch sheet. So I put my piece of paper here. I've already made this nice, crisp, clean fold on my card. This is basically just a Whisper White cardstock, and you can order these on my online store as well. And it's an 8.5 by 11 that's cut in half. And so easy peasy. This Whisper White is very versatile, makes a backdrop for any card, masculine or feminine, and just looks really amazing. We're going to layer our card today, so it's going to look something like this. I have some gray cardstock that I'm going to place over the base card. Doesn't that look pretty? I love gray and white. Just love that crisp, clean line look. And gray and white are just so in now with farm styles and decor. I love that. Then we're also going to use a third layer, and this is going to be also our Whisper White cardstock, and it's a little bit smaller than the gray. So when we combine them all, it's going to be perfectly layered. So that way we just get a little peek of the gray, and we're able to see just a little bit of color there. So love how that's going to turn out. So for starters, all we need to do is have our first layer that will be appearing on our card, and that will be the smallest layer on Whisper White. And what we're going to do is, how about we start off making some grass on our card. And so for grass, I'm going to use the acrylic blocks that have the grass. One of them is a little bit thicker, and I don't know if you can see this, but it's a little bit thicker, the stamp itself, than the smaller version. And the reason for that, Stampin' Up! Is really great because they create stamps so that way they can be layered, and so your card has some dimension to it, and you can add some different coloring to give some shadowing effects, and I just love that. And so I'm going to start off with our Granny Apple Green. Notice that our stamp pads are amazing. And so they have this really neat kind of hinge on them. And so you just literally pop that up and then you slide it into place, and look at that, a nice juicy ink pad. Love that. I'm actually going to start with the smaller grass stamp, and I really want to have a dimensional image of the grass. So I'm going to stamp my grass, but then I'm also going to stamp off just a bit. And I want a little bit more ink to make sure I get it on all of the grass strands. I'm going to stamp off just a bit on it, and then I'm going to put it on my card. I think we'll decorate this side over here. And so there is my first image. I am going to add another, ink it up, stamp off just a bit, and place another image of my grass. And what I'm going to do now is kind of a trick that I'm going to use my bigger grass, and I'm really going to ink this up, and I'm not going to stamp off any ink. So when I put it on my card, it should appear much darker than what I had done the first time. So look at that. You can actually see how it looks like I actually used two different colors of green, but really it's just the one Granny Apple. And so you just need one stamp pad of a color, and you can do wonders with it. And so I think that's going to be perfect grass for us. I'm going to go ahead and clean my stamp and show you how this will look once it's nice and clean. So you can see that there's no more ink on it, perfectly clean acrylic block, as well as the stamp. So the acrylic block, the clean can come off, and reuse the acrylic block for another stamp. So love how easy that was. And now it's time to create our flowers. And I say we start with, let's start with blue flowers. One of the things that you want to get in the habit of is closing your stamps so that way that they are not out. We don't want them to dry out. So done with the Granny Apple for now. Let's go ahead and use the Coastal Cabana, and let's start making some flowers. And I'm actually going to start with using this acrylic block that we had used for our grass. And I'm going to put a bottom layer of petals. And I'm going to use the Coastal Cabana, but I also want to use that dimensional color effect that I used on the grass. So I'm going to stamp off just a bit, and then I will stamp on the card and just get a really nice, pretty little poppy look of a blue flower there. So you can see that there. One thing about the Stampin' Up! Stamps, they are just so beautiful and they're so detailed. Just love them. And it just, I mean, every stamp is so unique and so beautiful. I don't think I could ever mess up a card because they just always seem to turn out absolutely perfect. May not be what I intended, but always look so wonderful. So I like that. I do want to do some dimension with my flowers, and so I'm going to take another stamp, and the acrylic blocks come in different sizes, and so I'm just going to put the shadowing effect on another acrylic block, and I'm going to stamp it with the Pacific Blue. And I am not one of those stampers that perfectly align their stamps and it has to be perfect, because I think not being perfect just adds some character to the image. And so, I mean, however it turns out, I know it's going to look fabulous. And look at that. So now we have some layering of stamps, and I just love how those blues came together. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this stamp, and let's go ahead and make another color of a flower. Let's make a yellow. How about that? We're going to use the Daffodil Delight. My allergies are terrible. Here in San Antonio, we have a lot of live oaks. And if you've ever been to Texas, the live oaks, and if you have allergies, will make you sneeze and sneeze and not stop. So that's where I'm at. Okay, so what we want to do now is I want to add some yellow flowers. Of course, yellow flowers are my favorite. When my husband buys me flowers, it's always spring-like flowers that he gets me, and I just love them. Oh, we want some dimension on those flowers, and so I'm now going to use the Mango Melody to just add a little bit of dimension with a second stamp. The wonderful thing about the stamps, and if they are the photopolymer, is that you can actually see your exact placement of the stamps. So that way, if you are doing a layering effect, you can truly see where to place it, and it'll create that perfect image that has a similar design to the original that you had constructed. And so there's the nice yellow flowers. Clean off my stamps. And now how about we make a nice red flower, or pink, shade of pink flower. I mean, really the possibilities are endless because, hey, all these colors go perfectly together. And so it's just a matter of how creative do you want to be and what do you want to put together. And so really the sky's the limit on what you want to place together. I love to do tutorials because a lot of people need some help with some ideas. And when I started, I needed a lot of ideas too, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with copycatting when it comes to stamping, because hey, it's still going to be a little bit different because it is your own, but it is going to be something that maybe you didn't have to create entirely on your own, but you were able to get some ideas from someone else. So it just kind of made things a little bit easier. So I'm all for that. I'm going to add some melon mango to to this flower because I just think it needs a little something more. And we're going to place that right on top so it creates that dimensional view. Oh, isn't that cute? I love that. And I love it so much that I think I want to include another flower. I think I may want to add a pink flower. Somewhere here in the middle, just because I think it'll be a perfect addition to what we have here. And I want to use the melon mambo. But first, how about, what if we layer this again? I think that would be a great start. Let's do another layering to create dimension to this particular card. I think that would be super sweet. And let's go ahead and change our color real quick so that way we can add that dimension. So we're going to use the Flirty Flamingo first, and I'm just going to place it right up above the yellow flowers, and then we'll use the darker color and just add a little something to it. Oh, isn't that cute? Super cute. And I think I also want to add maybe another blue. I love that blue. And so let's go back to that initial stamp. And let's change it out. It's funny because today on my blog, I got a comment that said, I love the way that you're quiet whenever you stamp. Well, I never even realized that. But I think that I am. Whenever I stamp, I tend to, when I actually apply the stamp, I tend to get a little quiet when I'm doing the placement, and I never even realized that. It's funny the things that you recognize once you videotape yourself. And usually I videotape and then I don't necessarily look at the video. I'm a working mom, and so I don't have time to view my own videos. And so I just kind of get feedback from others about silly things that I said or things that I did during the video that I didn't even realize I did. Okay, so everything is pretty much cleaned up. And now we will go on to create our sentiment. And the sentiment that I want to use for this particular card, I'm going to use the one that says, there's so much to love about you. I love that. And I know there's probably so many people in your own life that you think, oh my gosh, they mean so much to me. And sometimes we don't spend enough time recognizing that with others and letting people know just how much they do mean to us. And just sharing some sentiments and our handwritten messages, just to sometimes say thank you and that you appreciate others. And so I'm just going to place the sentiment over in this corner, and let's start layering our card and seeing how this is going to come together. One of the things that I do, and this is a good tip for you guys, Once you start layering your card, sometimes your hands are inked up, and so you want to clean them. So one of the things that I do is I use baby wipes, and baby wipes are perfect because they just clean up your hands rather quickly and make sure that all of the ink is off of your fingers, because remember, we're using this Whisper White, so the last thing that we want to do is get any ink on that white. But if we did, there's ways to fix that and kind of cover it up, so no worries. There's never a card that is messed up. Okay, so here we go. We're using our glue, and we're just going to add some glue to the back of the gray cardstock. I love the glue because it allows you to have some wiggle time to literally wiggle the paper around and make sure that you center it and get it just as perfect as what you would like. I am pretty picky about having nice straight lines, and so I do like having that glue because it provides me the time in order to do that and make sure that everything is placed the way that I want it to. So here is my gray cardstock on my card, and then I love the layer 3 that we're going to put on that card. It's just going to look so beautiful. But I do want to add a little something, and I think it's going to be the ribbon that I found. And I think what we could do is tie us a little bow on the back of our card. And in order to adhere the ribbon to the card, what I'm going to do is just put a little piece of the snail adhesive on the back of the card. So that way it'll hold the ribbon in place, so that way I can tie it. And so sticks so well, littlest piece. And we're just going to tie a little knot using this ribbon. Now the key to ribbon is always cutting a piece, like don't be so chintzy on your ribbon, because what will happen will be that you won't be able to tie it. And so what I'm seeing here is I need to trim my ribbon, as well as it's not as tight as I would like it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and actually do a little trick, and I'm just going to cut the back of the ribbon, and I'm going to add a little bit of tape just to tighten it up. And I'm going to trim it, and the other side, because remember, no one sees the back of your cards, so you can kind of do whatever you need to make it appear the way that you would like. So that is much better. It's tighter and it has a much better look to it. I also think that I want to, notice how I'm cutting the ribbon also. I'm cutting it so that it's at an angle, so that way it just looks pretty. I'm going to use some glue dots, and I know I have my glue dots here. Love these things because they are just fabulous. And I'm just going to use a little tiny glue dot on the back of the ribbon to anchor it in place. And I'm going to use another one for the bottom part of the ribbon. And normally I use a little tool, but hey, it's okay, we still got this. And so look at that. That's so cute. I love this card. And I'm going to make several of these, I think, because I want to give them to a lot of the people who gave me some gifts today. And I just want them to know that I appreciated them thinking of me. And like I said, I love clean lines, so I want to make sure that this is placed just perfect, so that way I just get a tiny peek of the gray cardstock that's behind it. And there we go. Now look at that super cute card. Isn't that adorable? I love the green. Just love that green. I think we need a little something more though. I love to stamp on the inside of the card. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some grass, and I don't know, what do you guys think? Maybe some of the pink for a flower. And I need a little bit more Stampin' Mist because I've used a lot of colors tonight. And I'm going to clean off this acrylic block so that way I can reuse it. Perfectly clean. Check that out. Definitely more clean than what my fingers are because I'm sometimes a little bit messy stamper. And let's go ahead and close all of these because I know some of you are saying, oh my gosh, her ink pads are going to dry out. They never do. Stampin' Up ink pads, that's the wonderful thing about them, is that they last forever. Some of mine I've had for literally years and years. And when they do run out of ink, because I have used them so much, I simply just buy a refill ink. I'll show you what that looks like in just a bit, and replenish it. So I'm going to put a little bit of that grass. Love that. And let's see here. I think we need some of the thick grass too. So we're just going to really ink it up. I think I want to use the, let's put a layer of the granny apple on top of that one. See what we get. So really get it inked up. Let's create that dimensional view of the grass. And then let's add our pink flower. We'll do our large one first because we want to do that dimension again. And then we will layer it. With some of that detail that we love. And there we go. Now look at that. Isn't that super cute? So we have our card that was made with a lot of different flowers. It's in the Stampin' Up Abstract Impressions. We used a little embellishment of some green ribbon, and then we stamped even the inside so that way we can write our little note to our special someone. And so that's all there is to it. Making cards with Stampin' Up! Supplies is just super easy and turns out super cute. So love that. We're going to go ahead and close our ink pads. And while I'm doing that, just wanted to tell you thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I appreciate your business. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator and share with you lots of ideas, lots of goodies, lots of freebies, and even if you're considering being part of the Stampin' Up! Team, I can certainly show you how to do that as well. So this is all for tonight. I will be back and provide more tutorials tomorrow. But thank you so much, and look at this great card that we created. Super easy, and just something that will just add some smiles to someone who receives it. Thank you so much, and remember, if you are visiting my online store, if you'll use the host code, so that way you'll get some special treats. The host code is going to be KFXWUDDN. So thank you so much, and have a great night, a great Wednesday night. Good night.